I'm going to go through the directions for the informative presentation, but all of these can be found in the assignment itself. For the informative speech requirements, you're choosing a topic that is informative, and that means you're teaching us about a topic. You're not asking us to think a certain way, you're not asking us to do anything, you're not sharing your opinion. You find a topic and you present the information factually. Keep in mind the topic you choose does have to be appropriate for a college age audience, so you're not going to teach how to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you're not going to talk about participation trophies for youth sports, you're not going to talk about senior citizens, unless you're asking for college students to be a participant in these areas. So the topic you choose has to be college student appropriate. It has to be informative, meaning you're just teaching us about something. It has to be factual. And it has to be new information. You can have factual information about things, but if it's the same stuff we've heard again and again before, like the effects of caffeine on your body, that's not that interesting. You can have the effects of caffeine on your body as a topic, but it has to be new information, or you have to go much deeper into information that's general knowledge. So you're not sharing the same information that we already know. Also important to choose a topic that you're interested in, because you have to do a lot of research on this, and you want to make that research interesting for yourself. And then when you're up and speaking in front of a group or recording yourself speaking, it shows if you don't care about the topic. And that's going to impact your delivery. So choose something that you care about, but it also fits the other requirements. This speech is worth a total of 100 points. The time is 4 to 6 minutes in length. You do lose points if you are under or over, and you lose a lot of points if you're under on time. The first thing we're going to look at is the introduction. There are 4 areas that have to be included in it. First is your attention getting. You have to begin with a well-developed story, a fascinating statistic or fact, or a compelling question, not a basic question. Go back to the video on the introduction to learn more about that. You also need to have the motivating material. You have to establish your credibility. You have to preview your main points, and then you need to transition into the first main point. You have a body of the speech, which will include the research that you have in there with transitions between each of those main points. You need to have at least 3 resource sources. They have to be clearly cited in the speech. Go back to the information. We talk about oral citations in speeches. They have to blend into the presentation and be part of the presentation and not sound awkward. You have to do that at least 3 times. That's the minimum number. If you have more information that should be cited, you should have more citations in your presentation, but the minimum is at least 3. And you'll have all 3 of those written on your reference page as well. And then the reference page is part of your outline you turn in. You have a conclusion. You have a good transition into the conclusion. You review your main points in the conclusion, and you have a memorable ending to the presentation. Make sure you have all of these elements in there. You do have to have a slideshow or some other type of supplementary aid, and you can go back to the slides on those, as well as the recording rules for Tri-C, to get that information on what is required for supplementary aids or slideshows. You're going to be using extemporaneous speaking style. It is not memorized. It is not read. You have an outline, a keyword and key phrase outline only. And those keywords and key phrases help to keep you in line with what you want to talk about next, but you pretty much know what you want to talk about next. And it's not the exact same presentation every single time, and that's okay. It still gets the same idea across. Look up extemporaneous speaking. Go back to the methods for speaking delivery and look at that over so you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're watching for things like vocal fillers, such as yeah, like, You have to make sure they have good volume and you have energy. And what we mean by that energy is that the way you say the words is just as important as the words you say. So if you are angry, if you are happy, if you are excited, if this is urgent, it comes across in your voice. So that's very, very important. You're not just flat and have no emotion. You're speaking, again, loud enough, you're slow enough so people can hear you and take time to grasp the information, and you have eye contact. And if you're recording, it just means you can pretend like you're speaking to a group of people in the audience. If you're in a classroom, then you actually have good eye contact with people in the audience.